big shout out for Clobberin Times! Make some noise for 24/7 Fusion Media! Light the fires, Valhalla, for Stone Cold Loki! Welcome special guest Classic Comics! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Comic Book Roundtable! Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the Comic Book Roundtable. I'm your host, Stone Loki, and of course, with me tonight are a class of gentlemen unto themselves. Let me please welcome the one and only Clobberin Times. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Good to see you tonight. Happy Turkey Month.
Happy Turkey Month. We are into October. Or November. Yes, God help me. I'm a month behind. To his right is the one and only 24/7 Fusion Media. Blow that shit up, ladies and gentlemen.
Blow it up. What's going on? How y'all doing out there? Hopefully everybody's chilling. I hope y'all got y'all snacks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because we're gonna be talking Superman and comic books and all that other good stuff. So
And our special guest for the next couple of months, Classic Comics. How are you doing, brother?
Doing well, Loki. Thanks for having me on again. And hello, everyone.
Heck yeah. Let's say hello to everybody. Who do we got in here?
Hey,
we have got Apollome's Minion. Good evening, Apollome. Hopefully the puppers.
And the pupper.
And the pupper. You know, I got kisses from the pupper.
You got to meet the pupper.
I got to meet I met the pupper in Vegas. But oh yeah, it's always good to see the puppers.
Oh, both hands on the wheel, Apollo. Hope you're doing well.
Indeed. We got Brandon Looney Tunes fan 2000. He says, "Hey, what's up, Doc? How are you doing, brother?" Psychodorf 9. Good evening, my friend. How are you doing? It is good to see you. Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches, is here.
Yes. The
Thank
Vindicator.
you so much. What?
The Vindicator Wrench of the North, as I call him now. I got a picture for him and everything. He's the man.
That's right. Lady Mist, the Guardian of the Void. Good evening.
Oh,
Lady
lovely
Mist.
ladies. Yay.
It is so good to see you. How are you doing? Keely Chow, Roll Tide, brother. How are you doing? Roll Tide, Keely.
Don't say that to him this week. His Tide's going to roll my Tigers. It's not Saturday. I hate to say it, but they're going to roll LSU this week, boy. Thanks a lot, Keely.
Pat S., good evening. He says, do you think Loki will have this series on in the background during the stream? That would be interesting. The
what
Superman series?
The World Series?
Oh, the Astros?
No. Is that on tonight? Is game 4 tonight? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm being
game 4 is on tonight.
Yeah, they got their asses whooped last night.
Oh, yeah. They sure did.
Shockwave is here. Good evening. Shockwave says, catching what I can between calls. Thank you so very much, my friend. Cal L64.
Hey,
Good
buddy.
evening.
Cal L.
Stephen M. Always good to see you, my friend. Claude Salini's here. Good evening, Claude. I hope you are doing well. Sean Estep is here. Says best countdown around. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so very much. Love doing the intros. Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington is here. Good evening. The Sentinel. What is up, Sentinel? Hail. It's good to see you, brother. It is good to see you. All right. Oh, God. 24 is already showing off comics. Project Storytime. Good evening. Says All-Star Superman is my favorite of all time. Comic of all time. Wow.
All time, huh? Well, we should talk about it one of these days in Project. It's a great comic. I love it. I mean, I just reread it about a year or two ago after after reading it long ago, and I love it. It's a great one.
So let's talk Superman. We're gonna go around the room. We'll start with Clobberin Times. Clobby, when were you introduced to Superman?
Well, man, that's tough. Because I know Batman was when I was 2 years old, and the Batman TV show was just coming on with Adam West, and I do mean newly coming on the air. That's how old I am. So I believe my first exposure, like my gateway to all superheroes, was television, and it was the Filmation Superman cartoon, which was like part of the Superman Aquaman hour, and then they had
that was some good shit, boy. Yeah,
that was when I first got to see him. Then, of course, I got a book at a relatively young age, a few years later, called Superman from the 30s to the 70s, which was a book we got at Walden's, and I still have a very ragtag, just a very well-read copy, you might say, that doesn't have the jacket anymore. And a lot of reprints of the early stuff, and it was a potpourri sort of reprints of up to that time, up to from around 1939, from 38 to 71. With various reprints, and that's how I really, really started getting to read comics. And I was already hooked, and then that was around that same time I started getting to see the George Reeves Adventures of Superman TV show from the 50s. I was already an avid Superman fan, loved him very much, and just kept going from there, man. He's as you know, my sentimental favorite character is the Thing, but I acknowledge Superman is the greatest superhero of all time. You might have a favorite that's other than that, and I can definitely respect it, but he's the greatest. And I love his Superboy iteration, Silver Age, Golden and Silver Age, and Bronze, as much as I love his adult version of that era. So.
All right. What about you, 24? When were you introduced to Superman?
Ooh. It would have to be between Christopher Reeves, the Super Friends, comic books, also the Mego toys was another one. Yeah, that was a big boy. Get your hands on some of those. Ooh, shit.
Oh yeah, I had.
Oh man, yeah,
Superman,
man. And
Superman was in abundance. You can get him a lot. So yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I always wondered? Why did Superman have a car? Because Superman had a car. I remember I had this it was like an action figure car where you could put the action figure in there, but he had a car, and I never got
the hands on it.
Yeah,
Supermobile.
It had the fist. Yep.
Corgi.
No, from what I recall, I think he had lost his powers, man, or some shit, and he needed to.
Yeah, this somebody put a red sun shield around frame around the Earth.
Yeah, something like that.
It, and had a Garcia Lopez cover. It was done just basically to sell. He was fighting a Mason, remember? In the first cover that was in, DC thought they wanted to sell a Superman toy, so
yeah,
they sold the old Corgi.
Huh. And I know another thing too that was big at home when I was a kid was you remember the Super Friends Christmas album with where like Batman and Superman were singing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like we had that at home too, man. So it's between all of that made me, crazy for Superman, especially, as you get older, you start understanding what he really represents beyond, his power set and everything else. He's very noble, on the same level of like Captain America. Yeah.
There you go.
Classic. What about you?
Well, my first exposure to Superman was the Super Friends cartoon. This would have been probably around 73 or so. And that's, of course, it introduced me to superheroes, period, as well as, Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. My first issue, and I remember the first issue I read, it was, I don't know, it was around like Superman 270 or something like that, I think. And I remember the story. There was this like shape-shifting alien who was living in the apartment next door to Clark Kent, and he'd go out at night and like attack people. And it was, you would think Superman would notice, but whatever. And but yeah, that's kind of where I started with Superman myself.
I remember that opening to the motion picture. I think that's one of the first things I remember. If I was watching the cartoon at that time, I don't remember the Super Friends cartoon. But I remember I was over at my grandparents' house and they had a Betamax and we watched Superman the motion picture on a Betamax. For those of you out there going, "Oh my God, Loki, what's a Betamax?" Look it up. It's an absolute piece of junk that no one ever kept. They threw them all away. Little tiny cassettes. They were going up against VHS, and VHS won.
Right.
But I remember them getting that at a rental store, and us watching it. We got the Ghoulies too, but the Ghoulies wouldn't work. So we didn't get a chance to watch the Ghoulies.
The Groovy Ghoulies?
No, it was the Goonies. We got the we got the Goonies.
About the old Groovy Ghoulies cartoon.
No, we got the Goonies, but the Goonies didn't work, so they went back and got the Ghoulies, the monster movie. The
Ghoulies movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember that.
My dumb. Sorry.
With it coming out of the toilet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the green guy with the fucking suspenders and shit and the fucking rainbow.
But I remember watching the opening to Superman, and I remember someone complaining about the movie, and I didn't get it. I absolutely loved that movie, and someone was downing on that movie, but I didn't understand. I was like, "This is Superman. It's the coolest thing ever," and it just I can't remember a time where I wasn't a Superman fan. Besides that point in when I was a teenager, I was like, he's just a big Boy Scout, and then he died, and they brought him back. And it was all a cash grab. As Clobby likes to point out, it was all cash grab.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What did you guys think about the Henry Cavill news?
It's encouraging, isn't it? I mean, but if it's true that he wants to play him actually play Superman in character for the first time, not just somebody who gets called that, who doesn't act like him or behave like him in any way, and he wants it to be an inspiring, more, people keep saying the classical version, the real version of Superman, in other words, and it sounds like he wants to do that. Will it happen or not? We don't know, but it's pretty good. It is pretty positive news because it seems like he really is wanting to do that. So, and he was a good casting, in spite of not being, cast by someone who knew what he was doing. That's the only thing he did right was cast Cavill, and he was wasted. Let's hope he gets a chance to at least get a couple of cracks at it in character, the way Superman is supposed to be written.
I second that.
Yeah, I think it's a positive development. I think most people like Cavill in the role and are glad to see him back. And he has said in that, in some of the little interview snippets I've seen of him, he said they want to strike a more hopeful or optimistic tone with him, and I think that bodes well.
Yeah, it's as if he's actually listened to people on it, and he likes the character. He actually has regard for the character. Even back when he was part of Man of Steel and that horrible crap, he did talk about how he read a lot of the comics and stuff. Yes, the
Cabell's a big geek.
Beetle.
Cabell's a big comic book geek, just like the rest of us. And that's one of the things I love so much about his casting is he is one of us. He might look like he's a damn uber jock, but he was a geek. He grew up a geek. He was actually a short little fat kid.
That was a good series right there. Yeah, but you're right. And that's encouraging.
Yeah, it was Paris Collins doing the art on that Blue Beetle.
It was.
I had some of those issues.
Some of those guys.
Who was writing it? Do you remember?
Wasn't Wayne?
Len Wein. Yeah,
Wein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stephen M. throws out, it was an obvious cash grab, but truthfully, it was the whole story arc of his death and ultimate return, which brought me back to being a fan of Superman again. And I'm right there with you. That's why I love that series. That's why I hold it so dear. Is I was one of those people that's like, he's just an overgrown Boy Scout. Nothing's ever going to happen to him. And then he died. And I was like, holy shit, I took him for granted. And now he's gone. And I feel like ass. And I agree.
Yeah, love him. Great. Yeah, that was a good run there. That Blue Beetle run there, by the way. I loved it. That was, it was good.
Can you change Superman? One of the things I've heard a lot, one of the things that's been kind of going around is you can't change who Superman is. You can change what decade he's in. You can change the environment he is in, but you cannot change Superman.
When you do it, you take away the fundamentals of the character. So if you do it, it's just not him. You could call him anything. That's one thing. You could change anything, all right, but you don't really change it. You just change the label on it. So in a sense, it's a change. It's just not an actual legitimate one. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Classic.
I was just going to say, I think it depends on the context. If it's, you can do Elseworlds and stuff like that with him, and that can work. Fine, but as far as like the main continuity, he needs to stay pretty clearly defined. Most superheroes are, and it's same thing with like James Bond, for instance, or even Robin Hood, where they've got a pretty clearly defined set of characteristics, and you really can't get too far away from that, or you really kind of lose the flavor of the character.
And the thing about Elseworlds is, they're fine within Superman's point of origin is the comic book medium, and therefore inside that medium, where he belongs, pretty much where his true existence is sprung from, it's fine to do the occasional Elseworlds where you speculate here and there and stuff. When he's out in public, he should be like you do when you go out in public, or like you do when you go into someone else's house. You play nice. In other words, put the real Superman out there for the public to consume. If a bunch of geeks want to read stories about Superman doing things that he wouldn't really do in character, that's all fine and good in Elseworlds, which is aimed at older readers. But in public, idiots like Snyder should not be putting Superman out there to be edgy. It's not what he's for. That's not what he means. It's not his core.
Psychodorf9 is a $5 super chat and says, biggest heroes in the DC universe are Ma and Pa Kent.
Yeah, that's a good point. In a sense, they are.
And with that, I want to ask, is it okay to change his parents? Because we've seen some changes in DC with Clark Kent's parents, like we saw in Man of Steel. We've seen changes in who Batman's parents were. Batman's father is a villain and did all these despicable things.
Yeah.
And some stories have him like running Arkham, like he was this mad doctor that was experimenting on people in Arkham.
Yeah, I forgot who did that, by the way, because they need a nut punch.
Yeah.
I forgot, was that Scott Snyder or one of those, or Morrison maybe, or whichever jerk off did that, man. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Goki, go ahead.
changing their parents? Have they doomed that iteration to failure? Because I think one of the biggest mistakes Snyder made with Man of Steel was giving Superman and Clark Kent this kind of dark, brooding thing, which is Batman's thing. It shouldn't be Clark Kent. Clark Kent and Superman shouldn't be brooding and dark. And when you have Kal-El, when you have Clark Kent stand by and watch his dad get killed, and he does nothing about it, I'm sorry, no Superman ever would stand there and let his father get killed. These are undeniable facts that were written into these movies that, to me, seriously hamper what they were trying to do with the character.
They need to ignore the Snyder trash. In fact, the only thing that should carry over is the actor himself. Give him the right costume, give him the curl, give him the attitude, give him the morals and the values that Superman comes with. And other than that, ignore every single absolute bit of that crap, or it probably just won't work. It won't work for me. I'll tell you that.
It's funny you say that. He was, he's talking about coming back as being a Superman of hope. Does that mean is he coming back with the red trunks?
He better. It's better. He would like to go listen to me, but that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to come back with the spit curl, he might as well come back with the red trunks, man. I mean, he can keep the look of what that costume looks like and just put the fucking trunks on, man.
Well, the colors look a little bit brighter in that one little bit of a black.
Right. And just fucking put the trunks on, man. If he wants to embody,
trunks.
If he wants to embody the hope of it, and I've seen him put on Christopher Reeve's costume, man. It was when he was first cast, and
it
would have been it would have been cool to see him beefed up the way he is now with the suit on.
Yes, sir.
But shit, if it comes down to it, man, put the fucking red trunks on, man. Like, damn, like, because if not, he's still representing the new 52 Superman.
Exactly. And that's true. Chris Purser's right. A lot of it was Jeff Johns' stupid fault with the Screw 52 trash. And that costume, of course, wasn't just Snyder and everyone saying we don't like trunks. So people, like a lot of fanboys, backed them up by making fun of the trunks. But the fact that idiots calling it underwear, which it's not. But the fact of the matter is, DC was in we're going through a big lawsuit thing and still in that fighting with the Siegel family. And they did it to try to differentiate the look of the character. So a lot of what happened with losing the trunks was for legal, quote unquote, legal reasons. But the fact is, when that was over, they still kept him off because they were just jerks.
Yeah.
And I like what Kal-El 64 has to say here. Because I could have totally believed this. He super speeds, saves his dad, but something in what he did running that fast against the tornado makes his dad have a heart attack. He freaks out because no human being. And then he blames himself, and he's like, "No, I've got to go, and I've got to learn how to control this."
Sounds like Gwen Stacy. Death to me.
So I could have dealt with that. I can see that. He's got to go. Got to go learn.
He just has a heart attack like he doesn't, like Glenn Ford does in the movie.
I would have been completely okay with that too.
I think that's really having him die in that way. I think is important because it's something he can't fix. Right?
Exactly.
And it's obviously it's tragic for him, but it's also a humbling thing because it makes him face his own limitations. There's some things even he can't fix and people that even he can't save. But I always thought the problem I had with Man of Steel was I always had the thought that him being Superman was a combination of his Kryptonian heritage being his abilities mainly, and then his earthly heritage being his upbringing. And basically the Kents are the one who make him, his Kryptonian heritage makes him powerful, but it's his upbringing by the Kents that makes him this good person and a hero. Right. And in the Man of Steel, they give it all to Jor-El, where Jor-El is responsible for his powers and his heritage, but it's also the one who inspires him to be a hero. And meanwhile, Jonathan Kent is telling him not to save people, and they gave it.
Yeah.
it basically makes his upbringing in Smallville seem kind of like pointless, and I just never liked that.
Well, it's a bastardization of the character. In other words, the Superman is not super because of his powers. People just think that, oh, he's got superpowers, so he's super. Well, as we all know, these characters all inhabit universes where a lot of people are running around with powers. What makes him super is what he does with him. So it's his values, as you talk about. It's his upbringing for the Kents. Superman's values are the most important thing about him. They're what make him Superman. And there's this scene, when it shows how stupid Snyder and Goyer and all these guys are who made Man of Steel, because they they flat out missed the point in Superman the movie. That's not the only reference point for Superman, but let's just use it because it's a movie like this. When he dies, there's a line later at the funeral where young Jeff East, dubbed over by Christopher Reeves, say, all those things I can do, all those powers, and I couldn't even save him. That's one of the biggest lessons of the film. Well,
Right.
you have to change that line in Man of Steel for all the things I can do, all those powers, and I wouldn't even save him. You chose not to save him. It fundamentally wrecks the character, like so many other things in the movie does as well, and do as well. So this, it's what he does with the powers that makes him Superman, not that he has the powers. Because remember, everybody from Krypton, by that metric, everybody from Krypton is going to have the same powers anyway. So that means it's not that a unique a thing if everybody from Krypton shows up, which they do later, which was dumb. So it's what he does with him. And in this movie, he does nothing with him but basically fight when he gets cornered into a fight. That's all he ever does in this movie.
Well, isn't that one of the big points for Superman is this alien that was sent to Earth, the last of his kind, grows up in Kansas, ladies and gentlemen. Kansas, with two parents that are truth, justice, American way. Everything he knows, he learned from Ma and Pa Kent.
Yeah.
Who he is, he learned from Ma and Pa Kent. Clark Kent in Metropolis is different than the young Clark Kent that came from Kansas. But all of that is still there, and those are the ideals that Superman has. Clark Kent slouches. Clark Kent is a coward. Clark Kent is all these different things, but that's the persona he wears in Metropolis. That's not the Clark Kent from Smallville. The Clark Kent from Smallville is Superman. He becomes Superman. So all that's none of that's there in the Snyder movies. That you grew up American Pie, Americana, truth, justice, the American way. All of that it's gone. It's just not there. Like all three of you have said, he was told by his dad, well, maybe you shouldn't have saved those kids on the bus. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
So not Jonathan Kent. That, sir, is Hack Snyder and idiot Dennis. It was a Goyer, whatever. So David S. Goyer projecting their own inadequacies. See, there's the problem. That's why Man of Steel is such a horrible movie. No offense to integrity, but I don't see how you're surprised by. You put those two movies in the same boat. They're not. One of them has Superman in it. The Donner and Snyder did not have anything to do with Superman. But all due respect. But what I'm saying is that movie totally screws over everything to do with Superman because he just doesn't. He has no values whatsoever, and Paul Kent would never tell him anything like that. The real one. So, sorry, Loki.
No.
I have to control myself when that movie comes up. It's how anyone can think there's any kinship between Superman the movie by Donner and Man of Steel by Hack Snyder. It mind boggles me. Superman is not in that movie, in Man of Steel whatsoever. They barely say the word twice in the whole movie.
And Phantom, I'm coward might have been a strong word, brother. He's not the type of guy that's going to go running into a burning building. He's the guy that's going to be like on the sidelines, going, oh my God, that's so dangerous. No one go in there. Wait for the fire department. But that's the Clark Kent of Metropolis, and he's playing that.
Yes, he pretends to be the. Oh man, I love that. I always loved that issue. Haven't seen that in a while. Got every issue, huh, brother?
Yeah. I'm
Wow.
just bagging them up, man. They need to be with the backboard. So.
But yeah, look, I mean, again, it's fundamentally if you don't get the character right, then and that's with any character, right? I mean, then you got nothing. And it seems to me that Cavill, going back to him, is up for that. It seems like look, he's probably friends with his buddy Snide, so he's not going to come out and just trash him or anything like that. But I got to say that he probably look he did a job. He was directed to do a job. But he says, well, Integrity says, see, MOS is a modern, updated version of Donna. There's not, they're not, I don't know how you see that. I don't understand in what universe you see that. There's nothing alike at all. First of all, Man of Steel, forget about a lot of things. A movie that you can't even take a small kid to, and ostensibly a Superman movie that you can't even take children to is not a Superman movie. And you can't take little children to that. The great Mark C., one of the first things he told me when that movie came out is he couldn't bring his young son to go see it, who was about 6 years old, whatever it was, 5, 6, because why would you? It has horrific images and no good lessons to teach, and it's completely joyless. Man of Steel has nothing to do with the Donner Superman, even the lousy Lester Superman. It has nothing to do with Superman.
And Cal 64, I agree. Timid is a much better word than saying he's a coward. Clark is much more timid, whereas Superman is the one running into the building, and they are the same person. He's putting on an act, and that's what I was trying to say. So thank you for your comment, brother.
And I think it's worth noting that whole thing of, and Clobby, maybe you know about this, but I believe in the early issues of Superman, Clark isn't really like that, and he kind of became that way because of the radio show. And the actor that played him, of course, he couldn't put on a costume. So in order to signify that he was changing from Clark to Superman, he had 2 different voices he would use. One for Superman that was very strong and heroic, and then he would speak in a different way, more timidly as Clark. And that's where the whole idea of Clark being this kind of cowardly or sort of mild-mannered character developed, and then it kind of got into the comics.
Yeah, Bud Collier did a great job on the voice of that. But yes, hey, Integrity, I hope you're correct about that. I don't call him joyful or joyful. Yes, I don't call him traditional. I call him real deal. But I sure hope they don't call it Man of Steel too. Electric Boogaloo. I don't think they will. By the way, I think they're going to call it Superman. Just leave it at that. They probably should.
And when I think whenever I think of Clark Kent, I immediately think of Christopher Reeve in the glasses passing out. When the robber shoots at him, the mugger shoots him, and he's slouched. That's one of the things I didn't really get a handle on until probably maybe a decade ago. I'm like, oh my God, he's slouching. He's always slouching. And that moment when he goes to tell Lois the first time, and he takes the glasses off and he straightens up. I'm like, holy shit, he was slouching. I didn't even notice that he's like always slouching and his posture's bad. And he's like, well, golly gee whiz, Lois. It's just, he is in this totally different character. And I don't think anybody's been able to do that like Christopher Reeve did that.
Yeah, Brendan
not Cavill, not anybody.
He did okay.
It was different though. Look, hey, hello there, Leia Rose. Lovely ladies here. See, Christopher Reeve was playing a relatively different Clark Kent, one that was closer to comics at the time. George Reeves, whom I love. Remember, it's George Reeves from the old show, and it's Christopher Reeve, everyone, from the movie. There's a slight, it's one of the weirdest things in all of geek history that the 2 guys in succession to play Superman like that had such similar names, right? But George Reeves really kind of played him. His Clark Kent was not very distinguishable from his Superman. He was easygoing. He was a sage, like nice, kind of cool guy. He was not going for the goofy stuff. He wasn't playing him as a goof. He wasn't doing any of that stuff. And no one really, we didn't mind. We were kids. We loved him anyway. But his Clark Kent is not all that distinguishable for Superman. Then Christopher Reeve comes along, and I think he and Donner, and comics were kind of like that at the time as well, and he was like that in the comics. They decided, yes, we should make him a little, he should try to be a lot different in his Clark Kent persona from Superman. So he would be kind of the goof, kind of the nerdy type, and he would slouch, like you said, Loki. And so, to distinguish the two, that was really, it'd been done in the comics, and that was concentrated on the part, obviously, of Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve to do that. And it worked. He was goofy Clark Kent, but he wasn't really goofy Clark Kent in the older days. That was later. But we liked that, though. It was a great dichotomy.
Sentinel says Roth gave it a good try, but he was stifled by that shitty script and Bryan Singer.
Yes, it was. It's a shame. Brandon Routh could have been. It's a shame he got like Cavill got stripped a little bit because he was a good casting in a bad movie. It's a shame. Damn shame.
Okay, man. Did anybody? Hold on 1 second. As I type away at my.
I don't know about Superman Redeemed. Tell us all about that, Integrity. I'd like to hear about that. I don't know what it is.
Did anybody like Kevin Spacey shanking Superman?
Oh,
Lex Luthor when he shanked him with that kryptonite shard.
He was the worst casting of Luthor ever in history. And he was used, in spite of things about him in real life, he's a great actor. He was a great actor, but he was so wrong for Luthor.
I liked him as Luthor.
Did you?
Yeah,
really?
when you.
Wow. I hated him.
Yeah,
I wanted to throw up every time I looked at him in that movie.
Yeah, when you, I don't know, when I saw Kumar from Harold and Kumar as one of his fucking henchmen, it was a fucking rap, man.
Was that before or after Harold and Kumar?
That was after.
Okay.
Yeah, that was how he got the role. But you remember you remember how he died?
That's right. That's right.
In the fucking movie, like it was Kumar and like another dude or two, a fucking glacier just dropped on his ass, and that was it.
Yeah. No, I don't. You're right. It's true. Not worse than Jesse Eisenberg. I'll give you that. But that wasn't really Luthor anyway, because I don't count the Snyder trash as actual Superman. So. But that's a good point, though. Jesse Eisenberg was horrible.
I thought he was evil. I really did, and I liked the idea of him getting the shard and like figuring out, holy shit, when you can make another fortress. We can make a kryptonite. I like that idea. I just think it was all done poorly.
Well, Superman Redeemed. I'd like to see that Superman Redeemed. Sounds like somebody edited bits from Superman 3 and 4. Huh. That's interesting. Fans do the best work. That's interesting.
Matthew Pounder says he was trying to impersonate Hackman.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he was supposed to be playing that version, really.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Gene Hackman's
in a sense,
Luthor.
It was like a continuation. That was that movie starts off on the wrong foot anyway, being Superman Returns. We're supposed to believe that Superman leaves Earth for 5 years, which was asinine.
No.
To find Krypton.
Oh, so dumb.
And then to find that ain't shit there, and then he had to bring his ass back home.
They even shot some stuff for it.
Jor-El and his mother, if you go by the original theatrical cut of 2, both told him Krypton was destroyed. So you can go look. You're going to go looking for a planet that was blown up. That never.
Bryan Singer's an idiot. You know that. Absolute idiot.
And the whole thing is even more kind of absurd because this is supposed to. I think it ignores Superman 3 and 4. And follows right after 2. And at the end of Superman 2, there's that scene where he flies to the White House and he talks to the president and he has that little speech where he says, I'm sorry I was away for a while, but I'm back now and I won't let you down again, And according to this movie, like a few months later, he leaves Earth and goes into space. And it's like, what the heck?
Yep, that's the theatrical cut. Yeah, exactly. He said, I'll be back in a couple of years, dudes. Bye.
And then Lois had a baby. I don't know, man. Fuck all that.
That's his for some damn. Oh, that was so bad. Yeah. He said, so you have Clark and Lana Lang along with Lex Luthor, Nuclear Man, no Richard Pryor in S3. Wow, more villains. Oh well, that's pretty good because boy, Superman 3. I mean, let's be honest, it may be fun to kind of watching this nostalgia, but wow, I watched it again recently. It's
So I'm gonna check that out. Superman Redeemed. Thank you, Integrity 101.
Yeah.
is that original Blue Beetle Dan
Yep.
Garrett fighting Ted Kord?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take Amy Adams over bitter single mom Lois Lane any day. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's that actress's name?
Oh, that was good Lord.
Catherine
Cad
Boswell? Is that?
yeah, Kate Bosworth.
Kate Bosworth.
Kate
Yeah.
Bosworth. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Cute
all wrong.
girl, but-
she was all wrong. For
And
the
she was
most-
dating. She was dating Cyclops from the X-Men.
In the movie. Yeah, actually his character was the only one I almost sort of felt sorry for in the movie because he was like, man, he gets aced out by Superman and he comes back. But yeah, it's number one. Boy, I remember, man, I overordered
Vigilante. Yeah.
I overordered the hell out of that book. I was told to though. It wasn't my fault.
I always
Could
felt
not give it away.
I always felt that was kind of an unforced error how they handled Vigilante in the comics, and I really don't like what they did with that character in Peacemaker.
Yeah, it was horrible. The TV, there was a two-parter Alan Moore did of that comic that was really good, but most of the issues were just kind of blah. And Adrian Chase was, well, Alan Moore really did something horrible to him and Swamp Thing. Anyway, but yeah, the Peacemaker. Whew.
But speaking of Kate Bosworth being in that movie, I suspect that Kevin Spacey helped her get the role because, you know,
she
like
was
a
in that
couple of
Bobby
years,
Darin movie.
Yeah, a couple of years before, you know, he did that Bobby Darin movie and he cast her in it
She
opposite
was in
that. And after that, for the next several years, it seemed like every movie she was in, she was with Kevin Spacey. Superman Returns. There was that movie, I forget what it's called. It's where the college students rip off the casino. I forget what it's, but that's another one. There's like 3 or 4 of them that they did together.
Maybe
he was helping her get parts.
Maybe she walked in on him and that dude that's in Star Trek Discovery.
She had something on him.
She had something on him, so she was like, you know, I want this role. Help me get this role. That's very possible. I remember when everybody saw Stewie screaming, running naked through the mall, saying, "Help me! Help me! I just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement."
Nice. I agree with Mark D with the C though. That was probably the only really kind of cool scene in Superman Returns where he saves the airplane. That was kind of good. Also, it was kind of one shot of him holding the car, which was an homage to Action Comics #1. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the movie's just awful. What's up, Zax? Look at that.
The Sentinel says they killed off Cyclops in X-Men: The Last Stand so that James Marsden could go and get cucked by Superman in Returns. Your little opinion of the actor for that.
So he went from Brett Ratner to Bryan Singer. But who did he piss off in Hollywood?
Well, Singer did what, the first 2 X-Men movies?
Right, but Ratner did 3.
Yeah.
And everyone hates him because he sucks. And then
God, that movie
he went
sucked.
back to Singer. Yeah, so he went from Singer to Ratner to Singer again. It was an okay casting for Cyclops if the movies had been good. I mean, the guy was a good enough actor.
He did great in the first 2. I thought he did absolutely great.
Yeah.
When Wolverine and them getting that little Honda, whatever it is that he's driving, and it's got like the Backstreet Boys playing, I was like, oh yeah, that's Cyclops, all right.
Yeah, he just got screwed in those movies because they put so much of the focus on Wolverine.
It was,
he was basically just a side character, which really bugged me.
It was good old Knuckle Wolverine. It was the Wolverine Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolverine and the X-Men, which they made a cartoon by that title, which is actually a good show, but it was still like all Wolverine.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that DC can fix this? Can they fix what they did with? Are they going to fix? Can they fix? Whatever thoughts you guys have.
Are we talking about the movies, about Cavill and everything, or about?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they can, and I think they're definitely going to try. You know, I think it's just going to be real key is going to be who does, what's his face? Who does James Gunn assign or get to direct the film, get to write the film? Maybe most important. I hope it's not himself because I don't really want James Gunn doing a Superman movie himself.
Me either. If it's Gunn and he takes the reins, I would be very worried. I mean, however, if he's in charge, because he does, look, if he doesn't do to it what he did to Guardians or especially Peacemaker, but if he understands, look, this is a character that's not really for example, here's the whole problem with the Snyder thing. Christopher Nolan, they begged him because he made $1 bazillion for them with Batman movies. And he was never much of a Batman fan either. And they said, well, you made that much money with Batman, you do it with Superman. And even he kind of said, well, sure, but I don't really think I should be directing it, so let me get somebody else. Unfortunately, he made the worst choice in history of the universe, but he didn't know who to pick. But he didn't care about comics. This is a guy who was admitting he didn't really care much about comics or Batman. James Gunn knows comics, and he knows, so he probably knows that it's one thing to be silly with the Guardians of the Galaxy, to be really outrageous with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, but he may have enough sense to go, all right, let's treat Superman differently.
Right.
And let's give him more of a positive outlook, and let's not make him raunchy and horrible like he did with Peacemaker. And if he brings in the right guys, and if he erases the Snyder drivel, I think there's potential that he will do that, but time will tell. That's the only way you're going to rescue it from me personally, but I can only speak for me.
Actually, I think they can bring back Superman. It's the thing is, it's going to be all about what they really want to do with them. Now, if I heard that they already have a villain in mind, and I keep hearing Brainiac showing up in whatever they're going to do with Cavill when the second movie pops up. I keep hearing Brainiac is going to be the main villain, but it's just figuring out, if they're going to have the right people to write the scripts, and that's what it's all going to boil down to. I mean, I bet you they can do all kind of things with Brainiac, but if the script's bad, then it doesn't mean shit.
That's for sure. I'd like to see Brainiac. We haven't got a good chance to. We hadn't got a crack yet at him. So, however, there've been so many bad takes on Brainiac in the past 30 years in comics. I'll be honest with you. Even though I love a lot of things about Superman the animated series by Bruce Timm, I don't like their Brainiac. I don't like their stupid Brainiac origin about him being a Kryptonian computer. I hate that, to be honest with you.
Didn't Brainiac show up in Krypton?
He was a Kryptonian computer in their version.
In the anime, didn't Jor-El make him? Wasn't he Jor-El's creation?
Much.
Yeah,
it's kind of like an Ultron kind of thing.
Yeah, the animated series. Yeah,
that was the first.
I hate that.
That was my introduction to Brainiac.
Was
that? So I thought that I always thought, well, he's Jor-El's computer until I found out later that that's not originally how it all went down.
He's a Coluan computer. It was not from Krypton. And
however, they do that in Smallville too. He's not Jor-El's creation, but he's a Kryptonian computer, and he was the one telling them all, oh, there's nothing wrong with the sun, there's nothing wrong with the planet, everything's going to be just fine. Oh, well, your computer tells us that everything's going to be just jolly-o, and they listen to that and not to Jor-El.
Well, to be fair, even though I hate that, just as an old school fanboy, they still did a decent job with it on that animated show, and they still did a decent job with them on Justice League. So it's not like I didn't think that they, the execution wasn't good or anything. I just don't like that origin change, just as a personal thing. So they still did him fairly well, but they changed Brainiac radically even in the early '80s for a while. The more, for the longest time, he was a green dude with thingies on his head, like you could see his brain and stuff, or like a big computer looking brain on his head and stuff like that. So. Then they changed him to a more, even before Byrne came along, they changed him to a more of a metallic type thing.
Yeah, the Terminator looking version.
Yeah. And then later Byrne did a weird wonky crap with him too. So
terrific.
Actually, Integrity 101, I'm a Snyder fan. I loved 300. There's movies of his that I liked. I just don't like his take on Superman. I thought that the unedited version of Batman versus Superman was a lot better than the other one. I just didn't like the Ninja Turtle Doomsday, and there was things I thought shouldn't have been added to the movie. But I mean, for the most part, it was it was a good director's cut. There were music choices in the Justice League and the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League that I didn't agree with, but overall, I thought it was a better movie than what we got with
I disagree with that
douchebag McGee from.
How Time Strong get in there? Yeah, I hated the Snyder, everything about even the Snyder cut and all that stuff. But that said, even though I hate all of it, the only thing I don't agree with on that with the integrity is that I don't think they're going to let him get anywhere near it. I mean, he's saying that they will be. I mean, he's not. He's saying that they will let him do an MLS 2, if not, or another. He's not going to get a shot at any of it. He's gone. That is again just an opinion. I could totally be wrong, but my feeling is with Zaslav and them coming in, bringing James Gunn and all this stuff, you will not see Snyder anywhere near anything again. From
considering that he's the guy who cast
Ezra Miller,
and what's her face, Mira,
Amber Heard.
Oh yeah,
Amber Heard, and Ray Fisher. Between the three of them, I'd be surprised if they want to work with Zack Snyder again.
They just don't like his tone.
Those actors have caused them no end of headaches.
Right, and they just don't like his tone, and they don't want if Henry Cavill agrees to do this thing, he wants it to be the hopeful Superman. They know Snyder has no interest in that. Plus, they gave him they placated his fan base, that gave him his little cut with Justice League, and that's it. Again, been wrong before. And you never know. They might backtrack on that, but I don't think they will bring him back. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to try to go in a completely different direction.
Psychonorp 9 throws out a $5 super chat and says, hate to say this, but now is the time to create new legends. I don't think it's, you should hate it at all. And now is the time to make new legends.
Some people are working on that.
There are a lot of people working on that. They have bastardized these characters. They have ground their own comic book industry into the ground. Hell yeah. New legends, new ideas, new mythos.
My next video is going to be I'm going to review Isom #1.
Oh, great.
Oh, cool. There you go. Let's hope that takes off, does well, and hey, but that's true. Make new ones. And look, by the way, if I'm wrong about that, I'm wrong. Look, I can't predict anything either. I just don't think that they will. But okay, so you think that they're going to bring him back? I mean, look. Hey,
thank you, Psychodorp 9.
I will say this to integrity: if it happens, if I'm wrong and they actually do bring him back, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't go, "Wow!" I didn't think that. I'd be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked to death or anything. I'd go, "Wow, that's a bad move." This is a guy who none of his movies did well. And none of his movies were successful. They all underperformed. And if they're crazy enough to bring him back, I just don't know if Zaslav has looked at the track record of Zack Snyder and said, that's the guy I want directing in our new direction. I just don't see it, but hey.
You bring up Zaslav, Clobby. We had this whole thing explained to us that the Snyderverse was not coming back. These characters were not coming back. You were going to get Aquaman. You were going to get Flash, but you'll never see Ben Affleck. That's what they said. You'll never see Ben Affleck play Batman again. You're not going to see Henry Cavill ever don the boots and the cape ever again. He's not coming back. That's what DC told us. These are not things anybody are pulling out of their ass. These are their statements. And then a whole bunch of these people get fired, and suddenly Affleck's coming back. Cavill's coming back, and the Flash isn't going to be leading this new wave of DC with Supergirl and Batgirl and all this other shit that was supposed to happen. The entire track has changed, and focus has changed back to main characters of the story. Why have we not heard anything about Wonder Woman? Well, because Wonder Woman 84 sucked the sweat off a dead dog's balls. There is no ifs, ands, buts about that. That movie sucked. And I don't think that was Gal Gadot's fault at all. I absolutely love her. I've loved her for years before she ever was Wonder Woman. In fact, I loved her, and I said I don't think she's right for Wonder Woman. And then I saw Batman versus Superman. And I said, "Holy shit! Okay, I was completely wrong." Because I didn't think
she's
it
fine.
was going to be the right part for her.
I mean, she's lovely. So,
and I think people like her in that role. I think she's pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All the signs I'm seeing points for them wanting to go in another direction from Hack Snyder. But I'll tell you what, with my luck, integrity, I'll tell you this: with my luck, I guess I shouldn't be surprised if it does happen. But I'm highly skeptical. I don't see it. But you never know. Look, hey, who am I to predict these people? They're Hollywood. And if they're dumb enough to bring him back for more underperforming, big budget, blowing money away, then they deserve to lose money again. Because he did nothing he made got made. First of all, this is a guy who made a movie with the word Superman and Batman in the title. Even though I hate it, you should be able to theoretically film Superman and Batman playing tiddlywinks for 2 hours and trip over $1 billion, and he couldn't even do that. So people just did not like his take, at least generally. And then Civil War came along a couple weeks later and destroyed it. So all of this stuff underperformed. I don't know why they would bring him back.
Yeah, The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises both made over $1 billion just with Batman.
Yep. That's right.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. There's been what was leading up to in the Snyderverse was this dark, evil Superman. The Superman that isn't the Superman we all know. Whether
that's what he
it
wanted
was,
to do. Yeah.
And that's again, you're taking this character that inspires hope, that inspires freedom, truth, justice, and you are turning him into this evil son of a bitch. And what you said, Clobby, while that's fine for Elseworlds and these other stories and Injustice and all this other shit, having that happen to the Superman we all know and love ruins the character.
Yep. Yeah. And let's say, for example, if they bring him back, then we're not going to, and they say, yeah, but it's because they're going to be more positive Superman. Let's say, Henry Cavill was talking about a more inspiring one. Well, then if Hack Snyder makes an inspiring Superman movie, it'll be the first movie he's ever made in his life that is inspiring. Except 300 sort of is, it's a heroic story, so I'll give him that. But everything else he's done's been pretty dystopian, so I don't see him changing his stripes. But look, if they're dumb enough to bring him back to go ahead and just not make a lot of money again, then it's their money. Wasted again, Warner. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, Wonder Woman 84 was a crap story. Where's the cut where WW has to convince young Bruce to give his parents up? Oh, I don't know. It was pretty terrible, though.
That plot was just nonsensical.
It was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I mean, that part where they equate like people watching a TV broadcast to touching people. So that he can touch everybody at once. I was just like, no, no, that doesn't work, sir. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the most nonsensical movies I've ever seen.
Say, I'm
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, the one thing I'm gonna, I guess we're gonna see if it actually becomes a problem or not. Is kind of been looking up some things and kind of hearing, reading up that The Rock might be butting heads with James Gunn. Reason why is because James Gunn wants to take the DC studios into, or whatever you want to call it, into one direction, but then The Rock was the guy that brought back Henry Cavill. So before James Gunn got greenlit to run DC, The Rock was, for years trying to pull strings to make some shit happen. And Rock has, I guess, a vision for what he wants things to go. and James Gunn has, you know, his own ideas in mind. And the thing is basically The Rock, from what I'm understanding, is The Rock wants to make Black Adam the center of everything when it's not going to work because of course, but you know, and the thing is, it's not going to work because The Rock is, you know, Black Adam's not really the center of shit. You know, he's a badass villain, but he's not Superman.
The movie's not really doing that great. So I mean,
right, you know, and he's not even a part of the Trinity, man. So it's like, you know, it's like, as far as, because what he wants to do is, I keep reading. I read in a few articles how he wants to do a Suicide Squad versus Justice League versus Black Adam with the Justice Society mixed in the middle of that shit. And the focal point is going to be everybody trying to take down Black Adam, like how it was in that World War III comic book from like the 52-week comic book thing that came out back. You know, I own all those, but basically it's what Black Adam's known for. When they threw, like, I think it was like almost over 100 superheroes at him, and he fucking started destroying all kind of heroes and teams all by himself. It's like, Doc, he fucking destroyed like some of the Teen Titans, and like he ripped people's arms and legs apart like superheroes, fucking mowing them down, and they were all trying to take him down, and he was fucking going after fucking wrecking everybody. It's called World War III, man. And I got mine autographed by Ethan Van Sciver, man. But that's a fucking hell of a comic, man, to show like the might of Black Adam. And even at that point, he's still not the center of the DC universe, man. You know, with as strong as he is and what he can actually do. And it's just the fact that The Rock wants to make him the center. And that's, you know, The Rock is instrumental in bringing Henry Cavill back, and you know, it was his production team, $7 Productions, that ended up doing the Shazam movies, and then now they're doing the Black Adam movies, and Black Adam's going to end up being a franchise. But the thing is, his character's just not Superman.
Nope.
And I think, like Clobby said, it's not like Black Adam's like a runaway hit. I mean, it's doing okay.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's a big surprise. I mean, The Rock, he's a big star, so surprise, he wants everything to revolve around him. You know, go figure.
Yeah, that's true. Big ego. But yeah, the movies. I mean, I thought the movie was all right, but it's not setting the world on fire. It's doing better than some people thought it would. And we won't have gigantic legs or anything like that, but it's not going to get. It's not like they're going to. If this thing had been like for the monumental and busted $1 billion or something, then they might be going, "Hey, Rock, why don't you run DC for us?" But they want Gunn, because Gunn is a proven success, even if you don't like his stuff. And a lot of people don't care for his tone, but
right.
And look, I don't want him to get ridiculous. I hope he doesn't go crazy with Superman. We'll see. No, Larry, the thing is, he says Snyder can't do light, positive, hopeful superheroes. I think he just doesn't care about that, doesn't want to do that. I guess theoretically, maybe he could. I just don't think he's interested in that, or at least he's never shown interest in it before. And I don't think he's interested in it now. Oh, well, he did an owl movie, yeah.
I guess what was that thing called?
Something about owl. I don't know.
Guardians of something or other. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Hey, what's up, Sean? Cool dude. I don't think there will be another Black Adam either. Probably not.
You don't think there'll be a Black Adam too?
Well,
see, from what I'm understanding is I've been, like I say, just reading a bunch of shit, man. Black Adam is actually better received and actually doing better than Shazam. You know, at this point, you know, and I mean, you know, Shazam is working on his second movie while Black Adam's working on his first. And for his first outing, if you put both movies side to side, they say Black Adam's actually kicking Shazam's ass. So for Shazam to keep going and for them not to even come out with a Black Adam 2, and Black Adam is doing better than the first Shazam. What can you say?
Everybody's talking about Rock versus Cavill now. So everybody wants to see a Black Adam versus Superman. And however you cook that up, Superman is now Waller's bitch. I'm sorry, but I don't know if it was Clobby Classic. I don't know which one of you guys said it earlier, but there's this thing where we're getting Miller's Superman. This Superman that is attached to the government, that the government is controlling and summoning like he's their fucking attack dog. I do not like that. I am not at your beck and call. I'm Superman. I go here, I go there, I save people. It's what I do. You don't beat me, bitch. There's no super beeper that you beat me and get a hold of me.
Yeah, actually, I remember reading like there's one comic book storyline, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Invasion. And remember when all the alien races started invading Earth or whatever the fucking the president called in Superman, like bloop, he fucking like it was just he made a call, pressed a button, and Superman showed up, man, and it was just
so talk to the president, but not some ops person like her though. But go ahead, sorry.
Well, I mean, but the thing is like he, I've seen him from time to time. He gets called in by some kind of military, or government official, and he shows up.
When you say that, I immediately start thinking about that part in Dark Knight where it returns, where he's summoned by Ronald Reagan. He's like, "Well, my boy, the Ruskies are about to invade, and your good friend Bruce Wayne is back as Batman. I want you to go out and kill all the Ruskies for me, and then go and teach Batman a lesson and teach him he can't be a superhero anymore. All right, my boy, go." And he's like, Superman's standing there with like a hawk on his arm and shit. And he's like, "Yes, sir, right away, sir." And you're like, man, fuck that. That's not Superman. That's Superman's bitch.
Right.
One I address really quickly. Integrity says that MOS and BVS combined box office is almost identical to Nolan's first two that's not accurate. Both identical to his first two Bat films. That's not entirely accurate. BVS did not crack $1 billion. Dark Knight whacked $1 billion, big time. But no, it took those two films combined to barely eke over $1 billion. So, and then of course, it's just not even comparable. And I don't know why you think he's bringing back the Snyderverse, dude, but if that's what you want, maybe he'll do it for you and you'll be happy.
Chris Burgess says, "I don't like the idea of Superman being Waller's attack dog. He's nobody's tool."
No. Now, the one thing about that is, look, Superman. See, that's why I hate to put Waller there. They could have just had him show up of his own accord to say, hey, let's you need to, you gotten a lot of attention here. You look, let's have a talk of his own accord. He didn't need Waller for that stupid thing.
Right. Let me ask you this: you think it'd have been better if the president would have called him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that kind of stuff. Superman, does work with normal law enforcement and officials who are in charge. Just not, and it's not like DC has the equivalent of SHIELD, because that's not what she is really. Task Force X. He doesn't like Cadmus or Task Force X.
Right.
So,
Right.
So, anyway, well, Batman Begins made more money than MOS, didn't it? And then Dark Knight made way more money than BVS. So you're not quite correct there, sir. But we, anyway. Someone's talking.
Oh, that's me. I'm looking up box office.
No, you good. Actually, I was. This. I was just.
But it's irrelevant. They're not bringing. I mean, if they bring the Snyderverse back, well, I'll say they're not. But they've done a lot of dumb things before. Okay.
Over $1 billion for The Dark Knight. Batman vs Superman made $872.7 million. So it was 127.3 million off.
Yeah. And what did Batman Begins make?
Let me look that up.
It did well. I don't know if it did more than MOS was around the 6-something range, wasn't it?
$373.7 million for Batman Begins.
Okay, so MOS made more than it. So congratulations, Integrity. He still lost money on BVS in the sense that BVS had both Batman and Superman in it. I don't care about MOS right now, and I don't care about Batman Begins. This is his second film of the series. And he put Batman and Superman in the same title. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereas the Dark Knight doesn't even have the word Batman in it. Okay? And it made over $1 billion. He's got the two most recognizable names, arguably in all of fiction, in a movie in 2016, and still can't make over $1 billion. So you don't think that's a failure? You would be absolutely insane to not think that's a failure. He didn't. You should have been able to trip over $1 billion doing that. And yet it had no legs. And a couple of weeks after, in the box office, Civil War came along and smashed it, clobbered it.
Clobbered it.
He did not, underperformed is what the word I used. And Man of Steel, again, the dummy didn't put Superman in the title. He called it Man of Steel. Made 600 something. Why didn't it make way more than that? It was projected to make way more than that.
Yeah, it was supposed to hit around $1 billion.
It was expected to make $1 billion because remember it came out way after The Dark Knight, and Nolan produced it. Okay, so you're just comparing figures, cold stats, not projections, and so they underperformed. Sorry. So did Justice League, for that matter. And then Wonder Woman comes along, which he was part of it, but he didn't direct it or anything like that. He was he was gone pretty much. He was a basic producer or something, and it made over $1 billion. Aquaman, he had very little to do with that. It made over $1 billion. Okay.
So Decepticon 77 says the Batman 2 ain't happening. You don't announce that it's scheduled for 2025 at the earliest if the first was a success. Shades of the sequel announcements of the 98 Godzilla.
Oh, what else? Yeah. He's combined box office doesn't mean jack shit. Integrity 101.
If anybody is excited for hello, I'm Batman. Can you let me into your club so I can talk to your boss, the Penguin? If anybody's excited for more of that, by all fucking means, be excited for that. I can't. I just can't. I'm not gonna go see another movie like that where Batman walks up to a door and knocks and is like, "Can I talk to your boss, the Penguin?"
It was so stupid.
Do you know who I am? I'm Batman. Do you see my name tag? I have a name tag.
A lot of people like
damn.
And they're gonna do spin-off movies, right, with Batman's villains instead of doing
they got the Penguin TV show for HBO Max.
You know what? This is what I'm fucking sick of, and I'll just lay it out right here. What Marvel has done to the Avengers and the Marvel superheroes doing all this series shit completely kills hype. For, oh my God, I want to see them again. I want to see them in this movie. I want to see what happens here. Man. I don't give a shit anymore. I saw Jeremy Renner on a damn episode of television the other day. I was like, holy shit, this is from like the 90s. And I was like, damn, right. What happened to him? Oh yeah, he made that shitty Hawkeye series with Echo. Man. Who the fuck is Echo? Go figure it out. Echo. Why do I care about this? Because I don't want to see DC do the exact same thing. I don't want a whole bunch of shitty shows on HBO Max that are overproduced, underwritten, and underwhelming. Because that's exactly what's happened to Marvel. They spend hundreds of $1 million on these series, and they are overproduced by fucking executive producers that are like, oh my God, inclusion and safe space and blah, blah, blah. Oh, wouldn't it be great if we had a finale where we break the fourth wall? Oh my God. And we can have the green bitch break through the Disney Plus channel and talk to the executives of the show. Won't that be great? It's underwritten, overproduced, garbage, and I don't want to see that happen.
Man, I heard that was Kevin Feige's idea, man.
What? Which one?
The whole thing. I heard that like the whole last episode with
the Echo crap.
The him breaking the She-Hulk breaking the fourth wall, going through the fucking Disney Plus channel shits, and then talking to a robotic Kevin Feige or whatever the fuck. I heard that was all his shit.
Pennyworth season 3.
Because the Asian broad that's the the chick that's been writing the head of all the shows. She said she was like, yeah, episode 8, the last episode, that was all Kevin Feige. That was all his idea. That's what he wanted to do, and we just ran with it. I was like, what?
Pennyworth season 3 is out this month. Are you guys excited to see Pennyworth?
No,
I'm excited to miss it. Wow.
Is
that shit ain't even worth a penny?
I guess it's on HBO Max or some shit.
I didn't even know that had started.
I don't. Who's gonna watch it? Leave Alfred fucking alone. Leave Alfred alone. Leave these characters alone.
Leave Alfred.
Oh, we're gonna make a Penguin series. Quack 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 quack. Unless he's quacking, I don't give a shit.
What drives me nuts is they'll do an Alfred show. But, I mean, they have a laundry list of superheroes that they've never done and probably never will. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's
I just can't believe they didn't
no
learn
one wanted
anything.
an Alfred show.
I just can't believe they didn't learn anything with Gotham. There was some bad shit that floated in Gotham. It was bad. It was stinky. It was wrong. It was ugly.
I never watched it.
How could you? Oh, dude.
Which I hadn't. I watched 2.5 years of that shit.
They poisoned Commissioner Gordon. They poisoned his character, and he's banging someone named Barbara, who's not his wife, who he doesn't end up marrying. And then he has a kid named Barbara, and this bitch is absolutely insane. She's goes off the deep end. She tries to kill him and his wife, and you're going to name your kid Barbara. Did no one stop to fucking ask?
No, they didn't.
Oh my God, what is Batgirl's first name?
The show's terrible. I actually sat through that shit for a while too. I can't understand why I did it, but I did. Never mind. Troll away, Snyderbot. That's all I gotta do.
Okay, so we got 10 minutes left. What do you want to happen? If you were in charge, if you and please let me get this from each of you. If you were in charge of DC going forward, what would you do with it? We'll start with Clobby.
I guess you mean movies, because in comics I'd be just firing everybody.
Shit. I mean, just tell us what you would do with the property. Movies, comics, whatever.
Comics, everybody gets fired. And I bring in some old pros, and we revamp. We cut down the titles to certain, and not we actually sell to comics to customers who want to read comics, and we don't insult them. But that's a big long thing. Movies, pretty simple now. Henry Cavill is willing to come back here. I think you get James Gunn. I don't know. They already hired him, but I mean, if I probably wouldn't have put him in there. But if he's in there, I just make sure that he understands you're going to have to at least treat the big guys with respect. Superman, fine to have Cavill playing him. Get a director who understands and respects him. Try to find someone who has the same outlook as Richard Donner in terms of respecting the character. Get some guys who maybe have actually had some experience writing the character, even older school from comics. Anyway, you wipe out all of the Snyder trash that is filthy garbage. All of it. Other than, again, get rid of all of it, make the costume right, and just go from there. Just get someone who understands the character, and make sure you don't just spend 2.5 hours on another origin story. Just start right away with him as Superman. That's another big problem. And then slowly just start from scratch. I got to say, man, you know how much I love Batman? We got to stop with Batman movies for a while. We got to stop with Batman movies for a while. Let's throw a couple of different types of characters out there.
Well, you had all that hype around Green Arrow. You had all that hype around Arrow when it came out, and that it was a good series, and they completely fucking trashed that too. Because God, it was the CW. But dude, you could totally do an Arrow.
I'd like to see Green Arrow personally, but
yeah, Green Arrow, yeah.
I mean, well, this is another thing. How about a Batman show about freaking Batman? And there's another thing. Exactly as Mark D says. How about a couple of series? Batman doesn't need to be a $200 million movie every few years. If you're gonna do Batman, how about do a regular series?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be 20-something episodes, since these pansies in Hollywood now can't make long shows anymore. 15 episodes, 12 episodes, and have it actually deal. I know this is revolutionary with Batman and his villains, and adapt some classic stories. I mean, that's what I would do. But to be honest with you, I just want control of the animation department. And you guys can have you could bring Snyder back and make Integrity here, my new friend Integrity, happy. Bring Snyder back, which he says is 100% happening. So he's going to be happy. He could have his Snyderverse, and he can wallow in it and enjoy the blood coming out of his nostrils from Snyder. And I would take the animation stuff and run that and be control and let me call the shots there. So, however, I'm just telling you, that's how I would handle it. Sorry.
There were rumors when Green Arrow was going on that Jensen Ackles was going to come in and play Bruce Wayne. He was not going to play Batman because they were not going to allow Batman to be on a television show, because God forbid, but he was going to do a guest appearance as Bruce Wayne. I had absolutely no problem with that. Jensen Ackles has voiced Red Hood. He's voiced Batman in multiple animated series. I would have enjoyed that. I would have liked that.
Yeah.
I don't want a origin story series. I sure as shit don't want that though. You want to do a live action series, do it in the vein of the Batman animated series. I can deal with that.
Yeah. Jits is good though. Yeah, he's a good actor. So yeah. In fact, what I would do is I would hire you and 24, Loki, to run the movies and just let me take care of the animation department. I can call the shots and boss everybody around there. Classic can go with me if he wants to, if he cares about that sort of thing. I don't know if he wants to. Yeah.
24. What's your first thing? What is the first thing you do? What do you do to clean house at DC?
I would take everything out of. I would see. That's the thing. Now, to be real, it's like there's good elements and everything. First thing I would do, it was actually I would change the whole New 52 aspect of the whole thing. I would the costumes, the attitudes,
amen,
the all that shit, man. I would scrub all that. I'd go to try to fix Shazam, even though like right now it's in the second movie. Really probably won't be fixing that. You probably have to scrap the whole thing and start over again to tell a true story of Billy Batson.
Yes.
So sir. Like it's that kind of shit. Wonder Woman, give her a whole new outfit. Probably, fuck man, Gal Gadot's too small, man. Get a chick that has some body on her. Take that tiara, fucking turn it upside down, and have that shit pointing straight up the way it's supposed to. Fuck that shit pointing down to her nose. Like that shit is stupid, man. So like. Like fucking change up that shit, man, and have her less of a warrior and more of a hero, man. Thank you. all that Xena shit, she can fucking fly with that, man. Like I could understand when Wonder Woman has to go into warrior mode that she has to fucking go to Paradise Island or wherever the fuck, or go back to her apartment and fucking press the button in the closet so that so her secret compartment can open up and boom, she has the fucking shield and her cape and all that other shit. Like if she's getting ready to fucking fight Darkseid and it's about to be a war, yeah, she go put that shit on and get ready to fight. But other than that, dog, she just needs the lasso. Why she got to be running around with the sword and all this other shit, man? Like fuck all that. If I want to see Xena, I go check Lucy Lawless. If I want to watch Wonder Woman, I go fuck with Linda Carter, man. Like we need a Wonder Woman that's more like Linda Carter, but like badass, like Wonder Woman that can kick some ass with today's action. Like let's say if Wonder Woman was just as cool as she was. Like let's say if it was like Linda Carter's Wonder Woman in the first movie, and just kind of tone down that rough shit just a little bit, you know, and just have her out there, you know, really fighting, you know, but do it to where it's like she's not this warrior princess. Like, you know, I don't. That's not Wonder Woman, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, the thing is, yeah, she went through trials. She went through a bunch of other shit to become Wonder Woman. Like, you know, we all know the stories. But as far as her being this fucking warrior ass woman 24/7, nah, she don't roll like that, man. So pull away from that. Aquaman, dude, there's so much shit, man. Like, Aquaman it's all right, man. He can, you know, they can probably do a few things a little bit better, man. I heard for number 2, they're going for this fucking global warming time. I don't know, man. It's supposed to be more of a Captain Planet and the Planeteers type shit, or like more like a Superman 4 Quest for Peace. You know, that type of shit. That's why Aquaman fucking doing all the reshoots now. So, you know, fuck all that. Because the thing is, you got Jason Momoa fucking trying to write the script, and now that he's on this old I want to shave my head for the climate type shits, he integrated that bullshit into the fucking movie. So fuck all that. You know, I would want to see Darkseid. So there's certain things that I'm be honest, from Zack Snyder's Justice League, I would like to see him come, you know, maybe under a different direct. I don't know how the fuck I would handle that one, man.
You just said you don't want Wonder Woman to be a Klingon again. That's what Snyder did to her. So yeah.
Klingon. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, he sure did, man. I don't want to see none of that shit, man. It's like, you know, I want to see Batman. I don't know. I don't want to see Batman be this old man he already got gray hair by the first time we fucking see him, man. Like, fuck that shit. I don't want to see old man Batman. Like, by the time we see Batman, he's ready to fucking retire. So fuck all that, man. He's ready to fucking, like, I don't want that, man. I don't want to see a Batman that's ready to retire. I want to see Batman in his prime, where he still got another fucking 10, 15 years to fucking go hard before he actually does retire. And we don't even catch, we catching Batman at the beginning of the stage. We catching Batman at the end. Dog, what the fuck, man? And the last time we caught Batman in his prime was what? Batman 89? Like, fuck that shit, man. Yeah. I'm talking about where they start off and he's already Batman.
Yeah. True.
You know, you know, fuck all that, man. And then the thing with Superman, dude, that whole doomsday shit, like, basically you threw his most hardest adversary at the beginning. Like, there wasn't even no build up to that shit, man.
No, that's true.
You know,
and
so
you made him look like a ninja. You made him look like a turtle too. So, yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, man, he did look like one of those Ninja Turtles, man, from the Michael Bay movie, man. So
Doomsday sucked, dude.
He's awful.
Doomsday fucking was awful.
But Snyder, it was not Snyder's fault either. I'm sure that was one of the execs' faults too. That Doomsday looked like shit. Not Snyder's fault. Let's make sure we know that.
So I mean, you know, and the thing is, man, it's like, dude, the race swapping, the gender swapping, or trying to, you know, make these characters out to be, well, you know, we all know that they have a relationship with women, but, you know, for the movies or for something else, they want to come out where they're bi or whatever. Like, kill all that bullshit. Like, stop all that, man. All that shit too, man, and just fucking come out with a real fucking movie, man. Dude, the thing is, man, if these characters can't stand on their own, dog, they've been famous for years, man, in comic books. If they can't stand on their own, in at least for their first outing out, let the characters be shown and be known for what the fuck they really are. You know, like it's like, I don't want to see Hawkman being some old black dude. And I know Hawkman could be anybody. But shit, the thing is you didn't even let me see Hawkman the way he originally is as Carter Hall.
Yeah, they didn't.
Shit, you got some fucking dude from the hood fucking called himself Hawkman, looking like fucking the Falcon. Jumps out without no wings. He fucking jumps out with a jacket, but by the time he hits the ground, he takes off the jacket, the fucking wings come out, boom, he's fucking flying all over the place. I don't give a fuck about that shit, man. That shit is fucking, come on, man. Like, stop all the corny shit, man. The Rock, look, man, the thing is with The Rock, even with him playing Black Adam, if he was so dedicated to the character for the last 10 or 15 years that he's been trying to play the role, why the fuck doesn't he have a little bit of hair on his head? And why the fucking his costume ain't better?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, damn, if you respect the character, I've been loving him all my life. I've been reading Black Adam ever since I was a kid. That motherfucker, why you don't look like him? And the thing is, if have you looked at the Black Adam toys? He looks like he looks like a dickhead, man, like a real fucking dick on his head, man. Bald, smooth. Dog, the character, man, like, dude, would you buy a Black Adam toy for your kid? Fuck no, man. Put a little bit of hair on your head. Have the little fucking Eddie Munster, the little Dracula little V shit on in the front of your head. Dude, damn, man. But what would it hurt to fucking get you some ears? Like if you're a Vulcan or some shit.
Because that wouldn't be The Rock playing him. The Rock has to be seen as playing him.
Yeah, The Rock has to look like The Rock. So.
Yeah.
Of course. He's a star.
It's like with, when Stallone played Judge Dredd,
Well, but fuck, man, when he was the Scorpion King, he had all that fucking hair on his head.
He wasn't The Rock, yeah. He was The Rock as wrestling, but he wasn't
but still, he was the Scorpion King. Shit, he had all long ass fucking hair.
You're right, dude. You are correct, sir.
That was also one of his very first roles.
If
you want to know what his first role was, it was on Star Trek Voyager. He was on an episode of Star Trek Voyager.
That's right.
That was in an arena. He was an arena fighter that fought 7-9. And then you got his little clip in The Mummy 2, and then you got the Scorpion King movie. But he had no creative control over any of that. He's got some creative control. So he can say, I don't want pointy ears. I don't want bullshit on my nose. I don't want a damn bee like Eddie Munster. He can say shit like that. And he's going to get what he wants because he's The Rock. And they want that star power. They want that. They want that bringing in money and getting people's butts in seats.
Yes, sir.
Classic. What would you do? And then we'll get out of here. I want to give you some time. I want to give you.
Well, I mean, I think my version would be a little more closer to what I think's going to happen. But I would, keep Cavill, of course. I would recast Luthor, and try and just get a good actor for Luthor. I don't have anyone off the top of my head. I mean, I think Mark Strong would be really good, but he's already played Savannah and Sinestro, so you probably wouldn't want to bring him back as Sinestro, and so probably wouldn't bring him back as Luthor, but not make him the main villain for the next movie. Have him plotting in the background and set him up for a third movie where he's the villain, maybe, and use Brainiac maybe, or maybe Parasite or anyone but Luthor or Zod.
What about Bizarro?
I mean, I guess. Him right.
I guess
I say Brainiac and Metallo, man. Yeah.
I'm just kind of tired of evil Superman. I'm kind of tired of that trope. But I guess Bizarro could work. But and I think Decepticon had a comment earlier. We was talking about do solo movies for a while, then do a Justice League, and I do like maybe year one do Superman, Batman. Year two, like maybe Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash. Year three, do like a World's Finest with Superman and Batman teaming up. And then Brave and the Bold with Flash and Green Lantern teaming up, and then do a Justice League.
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
Did I say Aquaman? I meant, and there need to be an Aquaman movie in there too.
Yeah.
I just want competent people writing, directing, producing that want to make these characters great and respect the characters. Cavill left The Witcher because he said, as long as they respect what was written in the original books, I will continue to play The Witcher. And you know what? They mock those books. They mock the production team. The directors, the writers, all mock the original work. They mock the games. They talk shit. And you know what? I wouldn't want to work for those cocksuckers either. I wouldn't want to work for the cocksuckers at DC that say, we don't really care who this character has been all this time. We're going to do this to it. We're going to do that to it. Oh, we got to make this character this because it's never been done before. Just because you have the ability to do something does not mean you should do something. Just because you have the money to make something doesn't mean you should actually make it. Because if all you're doing is damage to the brand and damage to the character, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. And it's time to give it a rest.
And I think that really kind of speaks to kind of the root problem in Hollywood, whether it's the DC movies or it's Marvel or Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever. And it's that the people who are moving into Hollywood now and making these movies, they don't believe in heroism. They don't believe in heroism and they don't believe in individualism. And they want to deconstruct and undermine those things rather than support them or extol them. And it's really, that's kind of at the root of all this.
Pops brings up an interesting comment. He says, I want WB to call the RRR director, SS Rajamouli, hope I said that correctly, and see if there is a way to get the dude locked in for a world's finest project, something of major scale. I think that'd be interesting.
I know on Midnight's Edge, I think Tom on there said that in some interview, that director said he didn't want to work in Hollywood. Now, obviously, money talks, so they could probably sway him. But
guys, I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you to my panel, Clobberin Times, who's a very busy man. I know he's busy. You got a show coming up, don't you? Here in 20 minutes.
Yeah, going on at the top of the hour at 9 Central. For my wild card Wednesday night, probably just me hanging out with the chat and talking to them a little bit, and whatever will be comics or whatever. But thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate it. Always good to hang out with my boy 24, brother. Man, you got to come on soon, man. Come back soon and hang out with me. It's been way too long, bro.
Hey, let me know.
Classic Comics, you too. Come hang with me one of these days, buddy. Good to see you.
All right, I'll come by your stream later.
Oh, cool, man. And Loki, dude, we got a review coming up soon.
Yes.
Let me know when you want to do it, man.
Hell yes, I will let you know. I gotta send you that copy of
which one we're doing?
Death in the Family.
Oh yeah, okay. But we're doing.
Are we doing All-Star?
Next,
yes,
right?
We're doing All-Star Superman next.
Next
and then we're
week
doing
or
Death
what?
in the Family next week. Would be great.
Okay, so probably next Tuesday or something, or if you want to do
Monday,
it
Tuesday, whatever you want to do.
Well, if you want to do it on the show Monday night, that'll save us Tuesday free for because there's gonna be a lot of people.
Okay.
Doing what next Tuesday. So Monday night, next Monday, we will review on Monday night Mark C Comics. Stop on Clobberin's Time. There you go. It'll be Loki and myself with another DC animated review, All Star Superman.
Oh yeah,
take it easy, chat.
Guys, thank you 24. You are awesome, brother. Guys, if you aren't subscribed to 24/7 Fusion Media, check that out now. His link's going to be in the description here in just a minute. Classic Comics, thank you, brother, for coming by. You guys are all excellent. And you'll be with us till January, right?
At least that long, maybe a little longer. We'll see.
Okay. Got everybody out there. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak, friend, enter. We'll see you guys on the next Comic Book Roundtable.
Night, everybody.
Peace.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.